This one I saw. I was watching. What's the name of that podcast? What is the name of their podcast?
Higher Learning.
Higher Learning, is it? Mm-hmm. It's Rachel from the first Black Bachelorette, and Van Lathan from TMZ, and he won an Oscar.
He actually does a show
Hip Hop Homicides.
It was a very good show. Very good show.
So he actually won an Oscar. He's like, he's doing a lot of cool stuff now. But they brought Emmanuel Acho on their show, right? He's friends with Rachel. They both grew up in Texas, real close to each other.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. So he comes on the show, and Van Lathan immediately says, I'll play you a clip, because I listened to the whole thing before I knew it was going to be a big story. I was just listening to it like a regular show. And as it was going on, I was like, ooh, this is not going well. This is the cringiest interview I've ever seen. So let me play a clip of it just so you get a sense. But the whole thing is like 40 minutes.
Oh, yeah. We're not playing the whole 40.
So,
well, racism doesn't exist. I know why they say that, because I've been in them rooms when they saying that. When I kick it with black people and they're like, all white people are racist. I know why you're saying that. All the while, I have the privilege and luxury of not having generational trauma because my parents were born in Nigeria. So, man, my method is removing some of the sting because I don't have that sting, and trying to deliver a message in a manner that people can receive it.
Okay. Let me tell you why what you just said offends me.
Okay.
All right. You saying that you don't have generational trauma, and you didn't mean it this way, but the reason, and it's, I have to name it, you saying that you don't have any generational trauma in some way meaning, or that in some way meaning that your delivery method to white people is going to be either more effective or more sanitized is, to me, dangerous. And let me tell you why. Everybody that you just named and what you're talking about does what they do in different ways. I don't think that any of the things that they do are necessarily harmful. But what I could say is a black man, a prominent one, acting as an emotional butler for white people and serving them the most milquetoast, unspicy, unseasoned brand of racial discourse and accountability possible could definitely be harmful. Like, we're fighting for our lives. And to me, having a conversation like that at that particular time, it's not that it's a different method. Everybody has a different method. Is that it's the wrong method. Is that it gives cover for.
So last thing he said was it gives cover. So, okay. So when I was listening to this, I was like, oh, this is going to be a big deal. And at first it wasn't. And y'all were like, but it started trending.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, now we finally arrived. So Emmanuel Acho, if you don't know who he is, he was a football player. Him and his brother actually both. His brother's on ESPN and he's on FS1.
Yeah.
And he started a show called Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, where he would, bring, I guess, white people on, cops, different celebrities, whatever, and kind of ask them, subtle questions about race.
Yeah.
It was mildly uncomfortable, right? So that was his deal, and he did that for many years, and he's been invited to kind of do that role on other things. Like, he came on when there was this big racial issue on The Bachelor, and he hosted the show where they talked about it. So he's kind of known as the black, arbitrage of
Peacemaker.
all that stuff. Yeah, so that's kind of been his reputation. Now he just does a sports show. It's called Speak on FS1. So in the past, Van has said a lot of negative things about him, basically what he said on that clip. So he was like, since you're here, I'm going to keep the same energy, and I'm going to say what I said when you're not here. So that's when he went on like this 15-minute rant of all the things he hated about his show and how dangerous he thought it was and all that kind of stuff. And Emmanuel's reaction was, yo, why'd you bring me on here for this? This is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Y'all tricked me that you thought your producers told me we were going to be talking about all these other things, and you just spent the whole interview just yelling at me. And it just got real contentious. Like, it was very, very awkward. Very awkward. To me, what this does is it kind of represents two schools of thought on how black people should be responding to racial tension and police brutality, like we're talking about today. Is it the Emmanuel Acho way, which is kind of like, I think in his heart he's basically be kind,
the Christian way,
presented
the
in
way
a
of faith.
presented in a way that you're listening, you're soaking it in, you're presenting it without being argumentative and combative, or the Van Lathan way, which is, then I'm tired of babysitting these people. They hate us. Then fine.
In modern terms, the T'Challa way versus the Killmonger way, or for older people, Dr. King versus Malcolm X.
Malcolm X,
Yeah.
So, what do y'all think?
I think I had a So one of the things that I think he did, Acho probably shouldn't have said, is the privilege and the luxury. Those are two bad words to use.
That gets back to which they kind of touched on in Black Panther. This underlying tension between African Americans and Africans.
Yeah.
That there's a sense that Africans feel superior to African Americans and look down on them. Yeah. Because of how they behave or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's an underlying thing in there of we were slaves. You don't get the struggle. You guys weren't ever slaves.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. So,
and I've heard this, narrative taken before. When you think about the word luxurious, right? Luxury. You think about apartments versus luxury apartments. Cars versus luxury cars, right? Him using the word luxurious automatically made it sound like he thought he was better. Yeah. Right. And that's where that tension has always been. I remember my pastor saying something about a question that he asked an African man. He said, why is it that you guys, he was asking a taxi cab driver this. He says, why does it seem like you guys are, considered arrogant? And he said, we're not arrogant. We're just confident, right? Because we are who you should have been had you not been enslaved. Okay. This is the conversation. And so in a sense, it feels like they're like, he mentioned luxurious, like I'm better. Yeah. Just to be real. Like I have a better thought process. I don't feel inferior. I don't feel, any of those stereotypes that you claim to feel against, 400 plus years of slavery. And I think that's where Lathan was Van was coming in and saying like, okay, let me tell you what you said just offensive. Yeah.
Because it's not just that. I think even African Americans can say, yeah, it would have been better if we weren't slaves and we would have been. That's the whole argument.
Yeah,
right?
It is the argument.
So, but where I think he was upset was he's basically saying that because of that, you're saying that your way of doing it is better than mine. And I think that's kind of what the sticking point is. Here's what I think. I think you kind of more on the Acho side. I don't like either one of them. Whenever his show, I knew about his show, but I can't watch it because I kind of know his angle, Acho, and it is a little too. Hey guys,
but it's Christian though.
But to me, it's a little too far to the. Hey guys, there's a. Can you please be nicer to like that? Please be nice to me.
Yeah, it's almost like he's the mediator.
Yeah,
can't we all get along?
There's a little bit of a problem. Can you please stop doing this, and then we'll be. It's like Martin Luther King wasn't even like that. You know what I mean? Like that's to me that's almost too far. Yeah. It's almost too far of being like, please, like please. And I don't think that's his intention, but it feels like that. With Van is way too militant. Van is like, screw them. They don't like us. We don't like them. That kind of attitude to me is way wrong, right? So I feel uncomfortable with both of them. Honestly, that's just my opinion. You think it's the Acho way?
I'm not. I don't. I feel like if we come in from a Christian perspective, Acho is the right way to go. But if we're coming from our if we're coming from our experience,
don't forget what you just said.
Yeah, okay. If we're coming from our experience and us as black people, then I understand why Van Lathan's way we should be like. If we're coming from that experience.
So I would normally agree with you, but I want to challenge it. Okay. I'm challenging myself too, saying that the Acho way is the Christian way. Why is that?
Well, because he's showing the
peace on earth, goodwill to men.
No, not that, but he's showing an olive branch to your enemy. You get what I'm saying? Like
it's to turn the other cheek.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. But if it's coming off as, like you said, Dr. King was like nonviolence, but at the same time, these people are wicked.
Yeah,
and these people need to be approached, and we need to take charge about this.
That's the part I'm trying to say is a little bit weird, because in the Bible, we're talking about what's more biblical.
Yeah,
it's turn the other cheek, but there were still Christians that were like, go take that city.
Yeah.
You know, kill all the people that did the wrong thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still
that's
sin
Old
is
Testament though, Sean.
okay.
That's the Jewish way.
Okay. All right. Let me introduce you to some Hebrew Israel. But so the point is that yes, our stance in it is peace and seeking peace and all that kind of stuff. But it's not saying the evil is not evil.
No,
you see what I'm saying?
That.
That's why I'm like, it's a little too far.
Yeah.
I don't think this is what he's trying to do, but that's how it feels to me.
Yeah.
That you're almost making them feel like it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's like, no. This is really bad.
Yeah.
We could talk about it. I'm not going to yell at you, but this is really, really bad, guys.
But going back to, and that's why I keep telling everybody, experience matters. Your personal experience with police, your personal experience, how you relate to other black people, your experience, how you relate to your parents, all that matters.
Yeah, it matters.
For Emmanuel, he's like, I've never experienced this. I can't say this is what we should do, because what I've been taught. I'm saying what he just said on the show.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. My experience is, hey, what did he just say? He said something about.
I heard the whole clip, and he's basically saying, I grew up in a situation where I was around white people completely, and I was around, when I was in college playing football, I was around black people completely, and I understand why they feel the way they feel about each other. Mm-hmm. So I get what he's saying.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like, for Van Lathan, he's like, man, you're being too passive, bro. We're in a state of emergency as black people. You can't be passive in this situation.
He literally says later on that we're at the place now where it's like, people are dying. If you don't respect me and you don't, care about me,
I'm gonna kill you before you kill me. Basically,
it's not what he said, but it's basically like
it's the underlying theme.
It's up.
Yeah,
it's up.
That's the underlying theme.
It's up.
It's the Killmonger way.
So
it's literally the Killmonger. Like when I watched Black Panther a couple weeks ago, and when you watch it, he's like, y'all here chilling. Now it's good for y'all. We got people out here and it's that same mentality.
It's the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? And I think black people for years have been saying, hey, we tried the Dr. King way. Maybe now it's time for us to try the Malcolm X. Even Christians. I'm seeing stuff in the chat right now.
Yeah. But
saying that.
But here's the thing. Even Martin Luther King towards the end started being like, oh, these people are wicked, man.
Yeah. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have brought our people together.
These people wicked, right? Yeah. So what's the result of the Black Panther? What was the point of the movie, right? Killmonger dies, but it almost sounded like they were trying to say that he was right.
Who, Killmonger?
Yeah.
I think what it was
he was right, but he was too aggressive. Is that what they were trying to say?
Kind of, but then also, but see, I think the question is, that's a good question for Ryan Coogler if we ever interview him, because the ending is like, it's so many key points in that movie where it's like, hey, don't kill Claw. They watching. Remember who you are. They're watching. You know what I'm saying? Like the part when they was chasing Claw and he got him and he was about to do something and they had the cameras out and his guard was like, stop. They're watching us. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Killmonger would have been, I don't care if they're watching us. He got to die. Yeah. Like he end up killing them. So I think there's so many messages in the movie about like, basically, can we all get along? Like, can we just like get along with each other? Mm-hmm. And like, my way is, hey, I mean, but then essence, Killmonger did affect T'Challa a little bit because he said, okay, now we gotta open this up. We gotta help the people. We gotta help the communities that's in impoverished. We gotta do that. Even when he went back and talked to his father in them dream sequences, like, why'd you leave him? Why'd you do this? So he started almost Dr. King-ish going towards the end of the movie, like Dr. King going towards the end of his life, like, hey man, some stuff, my perspective then has slowly but surely changed on certain things. So
I don't think we've come to a solid answer for the Van Lathan way, the what's the first guy's name?
Emmanuel.
The
Whitlock
way, the Whitlock way, or the Acho way, right? I think all of them sound nuts to me. Mm-hmm. So I think I'm in the middle of all that, but there is something that I think it's good to see the polar opposites in real time.
Yeah.
How they respond, to see what is the Christian way, because it's not always Acho.
Yeah.
It's not always Van. It's not always Whitlock.
Yeah. America will want you to say it's Acho.
But they're mimicking what we see in the Christian church too. Everybody with different opinions, everybody with different doctrine, everybody's it's just a way of life. It's the way of American culture, if you ask me.
Yeah.
It's the difference, you know. But I think one of the things that is fearful is, you know, I've been having this conversation with one of our team members for the last 2 weeks, and like, you know, they asked me, they said, what can we do to fix this? Is there anything we can do to fix it, right? Like, where's the conversation start?
Yeah.
Between black, between white, between police, between citizens, the community, you know, where does the conversation start? And every time he asks that question, he'll ask it more than once. And every time he goes to that question, I'm always like, I don't know. Because to me, you know, I described something totally different. I described living inside of my family, inside of my household. Like, the outside world matters to me, but I'm more concerned about, like, what values am I teaching my kids? What do I want them to know about the world, about God? Like, those are the things that I'm pressed for right now. And if there was more time in a day, yeah, that would be something that you could kind of like maybe explore. But for right now, I'm kind of stuck in that mindset of, I got to make sure that my household is brought up to speed first.
What I would say is, for the people who are not black listening, for our white brothers and sisters, I think what would be nice is for there to be not allyship, but just listening and understanding without getting defensive.
Why not allyship?
I don't know. I don't know what was allyship was created by somebody, not me. So I don't want to grab a word that I don't know really what it means. What I'm saying is
because even Van Lathan would say we need white allies. I think he would say that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know that word is not mine. So what I'm saying is that in this time, it's not helpful while you're watching things like this to say you should have just done this or you should have done this. Mm-hmm. We need to all get along. Mm-hmm. We need people to listen, understand. There's a in the Bible, it says mourn with those who mourn.
Yeah,
that's what I think is necessary. That there's your black brothers and sisters are in mourning constantly, and you may not understand it, may not get it, but please just listen to the heart. We're trying to talk about this fairly. Yeah. We're not trying to, we're not leftists. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to not part of an agenda. Mm-hmm. This is literally how we feel about these things. Yeah. So as a brother in Christ, it's listen, understand, mourn with those who mourn. Don't try to fix it. Mm-hmm. Just listen. And I think that's what we need as a community to help bring us together. It's not, we're not going to fix the racial problems, but our brothers and sisters, when we're all in mourning, if we put our arm around each other, that's what helps to heal some of those things. And
to understand this too, we're all at this table mourning something different, right? If the three of us cut off mics and have this conversation about, all of our experiences are different. Yeah. I experienced racism differently. Sean experienced racism differently. You probably experienced racism differently. Yeah. And your approach to it is either how you responded to it or how it was taught to you on how to respond to it, or how you feel like it should be flipped or switched or fixed. But all of our conversations, all of our experiences are different, so we can expect that anybody else brought into the conversation is going to have a different opinion.
I think everybody just need to listen to everybody. I think first off, honestly, a lot of stuff happens in the title Black versus Black. Mm-hmm. I think it's those conversations where we had to have in the community first, and then we look outward. Because I think the problem with Black America is we're not unified. To a point is like, so if somebody was to come and say, "Hey, man, what do we need to do to help the Black community?" Instead of all of us having that one answer, everybody has, okay, voter suppression, police brutality, this or bad economics. It's all different things to say. We don't know. We got all these situations, but we don't know what's the number one thing that Black America needs from the United States of America, of anything like that. Some people may say reparations. Some people may say better economics, whatever. It's not nothing. Other race groups know, like, hey, we all need this. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes Black people together, we don't have that that unity enough to know, okay, this is what we need as a unit.
Okay. All right, let's get back into it. You in the field with the Trackstarz, Ryan Righteous, Sean Tanner, DJ Jeremiah. Let's go.